Hi, good people. This is Deborah again. This is part three of four, the priestly lies, and the subject or the topic is the Archons control the system. Now, take what resonate with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. We all have different paths, but we'll end up at the same destination. Now, if you would, go back and revisit, those of you that are biblical readers, go back and look at Ephesians 6:12. I'm going to read it. It says, the principalities and the powers are the archons, while the rulers of darkness of this age are the demiurge, which is Yaldabaoth, who rule over the material world and the forces of ignorance and the suffering that keeps self bound by the ego. If you look at Isaiah 5:20 through 23, the Archons and the Anunnaki are spiritual uh, entities. Let me just say this. I think sometimes people think that when you say spiritual, they think in terms of positive. Well, spiritual or the spirit world is both positive and negative because that's where invisible entities are. And some are positive and some are negative. And I just want you to know that to be true because it is. So let me go back and read this again. Isaiah 5:20-23. The Archons and the Anunnaki are spiritual entities that distort truth and moral understanding. They manipulate the minds of individuals, causing them to embrace false belief and moral inversion, calling evil good and good evil, because that's what's going on today. People are calling evil good. Many, specifically religious groups. And the religious groups are the Christians, the Muslims, and the Judaism, those that believe in the Old Testament and the laws. Those are the Judaism type people for me. The ones that call themselves Israelites. Terrible, just terrible, terrible, inconsiderate, non compassionate critters. Anyway, it leads to spiritual blindness and ignorance as people become more focused on material desires, statutes and statutes that men put together, and self-reliance while rejecting wisdom and higher spiritual truth. See, the higher spiritual truth is above the fourth dimension. The results of spiritual decay and destruction of those who follow these deceptive forces. In the scripture, the rulers, authorities, and spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places are not mere metaphors. They are the hidden ones who operate in the fourth dimension or the hidden fourth realm, unseen by ordinary human perception but influencing the entire world. These entities, the Archons, the Demiurge, and uh, they're called Anunnakis as well, are part of the same control network, manipulating the material and spiritual realm. Now, in Gnostic thought, the Archons are spiritual entities that enforce order under the control of the Demiurge. They act as gatekeepers. They are visible and invisible. They're preventing humanity from achieving spiritual enlightenment. The Anunnakis are ancient Mesopotamian fallen ones who had a hand in manipulating human history, particularly in the creation and control of early civilization, which leads to our current time. They manipulate both the spiritual, which is the fourth dimension. As I said, it's up there where the moon is. That's the fourth dimension. The third and fourth dimension is tied together. Nobody can leave the fourth dimension to go past the fourth dimension, and that's just that. There are many activities going on in the fourth dimension of illusion. Okay. They manipulate both the spiritual, which is the fourth dimension, and physical realm, earth, acting in ways that keep humanity subjugated. They influence the world's affair in this unseen realm, subtly controlling human thoughts, society, and power systems. When the scripture speaks of powers over this present darkness, it refers to these unseen forces, the true adversaries of humanity's spiritual evolution. The spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places are the Archons, the Demiurge, and the Anunnaki, all manipulating humanity through the illusion of the material world, keeping the self afraid of the soul. The self is afraid of the soul because the self thinks it's a devil trying to help them, but it's your own soul which is inside you trying to awaken you to what is going on, and you don't want to wake up from it because you think that it's the devil. you know those people that are operating in the illusion actually thinks that that's reality, and it's not reality. It is an illusion. Because if you don't know that your body is made up of spirit, uh, soul first, spirit second, and body, uh, and don't understand the spiritual aspects of it, then you are operating in an illusion. So let me reread this. The spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places are Archons, the Demiurge, and the Anunnaki, all manipulating human through the illusion of the material world, keeping the self afraid of the soul and trapped in cycles of ignorance and suffering. The battle described in Ephesians 6:12 is not just a physical one, however, a spiritual war against these hidden forces, entities that exist in the fourth dimension. Yes, they do exist, and they are opera, and they don't want you to know that they exist. They want, like my son, he says, he believes in devils. He don't believe in Anunnakis. He believes in them being just mythology, which means just stories made. But just like the different name and titles and all that stuff, it's the same ones, but just doing different things. Uh, and they're housed in human beings as well. You know, shaping the world from behind the veil. That's where they are. They behind. Many of them want to stay behind the veil. There are those that are operating in this earth in high-ranking positions. So when you look at Yardabeth, Yah, uh, is in the moon. I saw the Yah, and I put a picture that resemble. They call it the Anunnaki. They call him Anu. I put a picture on this video. The one that I saw in the moon resemble Anu. I'm not saying that was Anu, but it resembled Anu. That's the closest picture that I could get to describe to you what I saw in the moon. It just that this particular one did not have a crown on. This particular one had braids, ancient braid, uh, a beard, a long beard. And that's what I saw in the moon. And it covered the face of the moon. Now, the material world, including this moon, the lower self, the emotions, or even illusions, as it reflects the sunlight, is under the influence or control of Yaldabaoth. Yah, often seen as a shortened version of Yahweh, Yahweh, Jehovah, Elohim, Allah, Aya, which is spelled with an IAH, the God of the Old Testament, y'all say, is viewed as a projection of the demiurge and as another name for the creator God who governs the material realm, one that you call Father. Uh, Yah demands obedience and worship to maintain his dominance over the material realm. He creates system of law, power, and religion to keep humanity from recognizing the true higher spark within themselves. Yah focuses more on obedience and control than the higher principles of love, wisdom, and freedom. Just look at the people that say they call on the name of Yah. They're not compassion. They're very self-absorbing. They have no compassion whatsoever. They are stingy and not helpful at all. They always throwing up what Yah said in the Bible. They constantly give you what Yah said in the Bible, and they have no. To me, they like robots with no love. That's what I see with them. That has been my experiences. Uh, with them. Um, they're just not loving people. The moon also has phases and is associated with cycles, much like the cycle nature of life and death in the material world, which is to be controlled by the demiurge and his archons. The moon's ability to reflect the sunlight can be seen as a metaphor for how the demiurge reflects light but distorts it, keeping humanity from seeing the truth. Conclusion. The Archons represent spiritual forces that maintain control over the material world and keep the self by ignoring the soul within, trapped in deception. These forces often operate through hidden power systems and fraternal organizations, and to manipulate individuals. When I say fraternal, I'm talking about Masons uh, that are in high ranking positions, uh, not those in the lower level of Masonic, because they just as ignorant as the people in the outside, leading them away from their true spiritual selves. The soul is the essence of individual and its journey involving helping the self break free from the control of the archons and their counterfeit spiritual system. This awakening is achieved through spiritual knowledge, allowing the soul to help the self transcend the illusions of the material world and return to its true state. This is all I have to say. I actually gave you much in video one because they operate through people. I gave you video two because they operate uh, through different methods, and video 3 is short for that purpose. So, until the next time, great people, take care.